an entire mountain disappeared. Not because of an earthquake, not because of a volcano, not because of war. More than 12 centuries ago, somewhere in the Deccan Plateau of India, thousands of people began carving solid rock from a mountainside. They did not cut the mountain into stone blocks to build a temple. They did not cut it into blocks for a fortress. Instead, they carved downward into the living rock itself. What remained was not a cave, not just a simple temple, but an entire temple complex, complete with gateways, towering pillars, bridges, courtyards, sculpted elephants, and a magnificent temple dedicated to Lord Shiva. Today, this monument is known as the Kailasa Temple at Ellora. More than 1,200 years later, it still amazes historians, archaeologists, architects, engineers, and visitors from around the world. Its beauty, but its true story, is far more extraordinary than its appearance, because the deeper we investigate this monument, the more remarkable the evidence becomes.
If this temple is one of humanity's greatest architectural achievements, who made it possible? Who commissioned such an ambitious monument? Why did an emperor choose to carve an entire mountain instead of constructing a conventional temple? Why was this particular mountain at Ellora selected from countless others across the Deccan? And before the first piece of rock was removed, did the builders already know exactly what the finished monument would look like? For generations, these questions have inspired curiosity, speculation, and debate. Some answers are supported by inscriptions. Others emerge from archaeology. Some come from careful historical interpretation. And a few mysteries remain unsolved. In this documentary, we follow the evidence. Not myths, not sensational claims, but archaeology, inscriptions, historical records, and the work of scholars who have spent decades studying this extraordinary monument. Welcome to Hidden Vault, where history isn't just told, it's investigated. To answer these questions, we have to travel back more than 1,200 years. Back to a time when the Deccan was ruled by powerful kings. Trade routes crossed these lands. Great cities were growing. Temples were being built. And skilled craftsmen were turning mountains into places of worship. But none of them imagined what was about to happen next. Because somewhere in the Deccan, a new empire was rising. An empire that would leave behind one of the greatest monuments ever created, the Rashtrakutas. Before the Rashtrakutas, another empire ruled these lands, the Chalukyas. They were powerful. They built beautiful temples. They supported artists, architects, and master stone carvers. Generation after generation, these craftsmen became more skilled. They learned how to carve caves, pillars, and entire temples from solid rock. The Rashtrakutas did not begin from nothing. They inherited hundreds of years of knowledge. But then, everything changed. The Chalukya Empire became weaker, and a new ruler saw an opportunity. His name was Dante Durga. Most people have never heard of Dante Durga. But without him, there may never have been a Kailasa Temple. He defeated powerful rivals. He expanded his kingdom. And he transformed the Rashtrakutas into a mighty empire. For the first time, they had wealth. They had power. They had skilled craftsmen. And they had the resources to dream bigger than ever before. Even today, his name survives at Ellora. Not inside the Kailasa Temple, but in another monument. The Dashavatara Cave. An ancient inscription found there tells us he was already connected to this place. Was Ellora already important before Kailasa? We'll answer that later, because after Danti Durga, another king entered the story. A king whose name appears in almost every history book. King Krishna I. Ask almost any history book, who built the Kailasa Temple? You'll probably get the same answer. King Krishna I. Simple. Case closed. Or is it? Look carefully at the temple. It is enormous. Thousands of sculptures, massive elephants carved from stone, huge pillars, bridges cut from a single mountain. Could all of this really have been completed during the reign of just one king? Some historians believe the answer is yes. Others are not so sure. And that's where our investigation begins.
To find the answer, we have to leave behind assumptions. Instead, we follow the evidence, ancient inscriptions, copper plates, archaeological discoveries, and the work of historians who have studied Kailasa for decades. Most historians agree that Krishna was the king who commissioned the temple, but not everyone agrees that he completed every part of it. Some scholars believe the project may have begun earlier. Others think later Rashtrakuta kings continued the work after Krishna I. So, who is right? To answer that, let's begin with the oldest evidence we have. For centuries, the accepted view seemed complete. Mystery solved. But history is not always that simple, because when historians looked more closely, they found something unexpected. Not inside the Kailasa Temple, but inside another cave at Ellora. And that discovery changed the investigation forever. The clue was not hidden inside the Kailasa Temple. It was hidden in another cave at Ellora, the Dasavatara Cave. Inside this cave, archaeologists found an important inscription connected to a Rashtrakuta ruler named Danti Durga. At first, this may not sound surprising, but think about it. If Danti Durga was already closely connected to Ellora, could the story of Kailasa have begun before Krishna first became king? We don't know for certain. The inscription does not say Danti Durga started the Kailasa Temple, but it tells us something very important. And from this evidence, three major historical theories emerge.
Theory 1. Traditional view. Krishna I commissioned Kailasa, supported by ASI, inscriptions, copper plates, and most textbooks.
Theory 2. Some historians propose Danti Durga may have begun the project. Krishna I supervised the main construction. Clarify. Interpretation. Not directly proven. Multiple Rashtrakuta rulers. Krishna I commissioned the main temple. Later kings continued carving and decoration. After examining the inscriptions, the archaeology, and the work of historians, one conclusion is supported more strongly than the others. Most historians agree that King Krishna I was the principal royal patron who commissioned the Kailasa Temple. Yet, some details of its construction remain uncertain. And that leads us to an even greater mystery. But solving one mystery only reveals another. If Krishna truly commissioned the Kailasa Temple, why didn't he build it like every other king? Why choose to carve an entire mountain when he could have constructed a magnificent temple from stone blocks? Was it devotion, imperial ambition, or something even greater? In the next episode, we investigate the emperor's impossible dream.